You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-Mini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-Mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borg. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Monday, 5th day of January 2026. Thanks for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. I hope you had a wonderful holiday, Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever it is you celebrate. Hopefully it's Christmas. And a Happy New Year. We all celebrate that. 2026, it's a blank canvas. And wow, we got off to a bang, didn't they? We'll talk about that later in the broadcast, more than once. And not only today, but I'm sure coming days, weeks, and months, because it will be the political hot potato for some time to come. And you all know I'm talking about Mr. Maduro, president, current felon. So, anyway, we do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. The first one's our live training room. So to get in there, you got to be a member or taking the 1-week free trial. If you haven't taken the 1-week free trial, you do so. In fact, Michael will give you the instructions in about an hour when he comes on. Probably go through it 2-3 times. It's going to take you about 3 minutes. Do what you need to do, and then that enables us to get your indicators up and indicating. Then you get 5 consecutive trading days on the trial. Weekends don't count against you. So we get you set up today. Means your trial starts tomorrow, which is Tuesday. So the trial will actually run all the way through next Monday. 5 consecutive. Doesn't count against you. So don't hesitate. Take advantage of the opportunity now. There is no credit card required because you want your mind focused on what's being taught. Because at the end of your trial, you need to be able to make a well-informed, intelligent decision as to whether or not trading is right. Gaining access to the live training room, take the trial. That's just 2 hours out of the day. We work around the clock. Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, Friday afternoon, 5 p.m. Eastern. While you're on the trial, you have access to everything we do. In fact, we treat you just like you were already a passport holder. Our trial. We give you access to everything. Again, so that you can make a well-informed, intelligent decision at the end of your trial as to whether or not you is right for you. The trial, our live training room ends each day at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. take a 30-minute break, and come back for this broadcast, the noon broadcast, which is open to the public. Everybody, everywhere on planet Earth, internet-connected device. Now, two very different formats from the first broadcast to this broadcast. The first broadcast, the live training room, that's live training, live trading. The afternoon broadcast is more of a recap and a bigger picture look at what's happening around the world, news, and in the markets. There's two different ways to join this afternoon broadcast live. Best way, because you only have to do it once, just go to mytradingiq.com, scroll down the page to where it says noon broadcast, click the link, fill out the 30-second registration form, and you're done. Forward, what will happen is every trading day you'll get an email about an hour before the broadcast starts. In the email, there will be a link. So at 12 noon Eastern, all you got to do is click the link in the email, and it automatically logs you into our platform. Benefit there is you have access to the question box, so you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Now, there will be days you're out of the office, away from your desktop, but you still want to join live. And some days you'll be busy, so you can't join live, but you want to get caught up later. Do both of those via our YouTube channel, which is easy to remember. youtube.com/CFRN. That's the Christian Financial Radio Network since 2005. So we can say 20 years now. Well, it will become spring. It's April when first broke the airwaves, 2005, and they've never been the same since. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, as we're doing right now, simulcasting, we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there are over 2,900 daily episodes archived, educational, and viewing pleasure. And if you're new to our neck of the woods, it's a great way to get to know who we really are. Thanks to the power of YouTube, scroll back 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, even. Now, obviously, you're not going to watch them all, nor do you need to. It is a handy tool to have at your fingertips because literally see how we've evolved over the years, day by day by day. youtube.com/CFRN. On the left side of the screen, you see our schedule for each afternoon broadcast. Michael will be joining us at the top of the hour. Right now, we're going to dive into our daily devotional. And the topic that we're on, began last week, is the power of God's blessing. Today's scripture is Psalms 67, and I'm going to share it from the NIV translation. Now, depending upon what version of the Bible you're using, it will probably say something above this chapter, like for the director of music with stringed instruments, a psalm, which is in essence a song. Interestingly enough, even though it's in the Bible with stringed instruments, You know, a lot of denominations today, less and less as time goes on, don't allow stringed instruments. I grew up in such a church. That was blasphemy, heresy. For some reason, the piano was okay. The organ was okay. Drums and no guitars. Figure. I don't know. Anyway, here it is, Psalm 67. May God be gracious to us and bless us, and make his face shine on us, so that your ways may be known on earth, salvation among all nations. May the people praise you, God. May all the peoples praise you. May the nations be glad and sing for joy. You rule the peoples with equity and guide the nations of the earth. May the people praise you, God. May all the peoples praise you. Land yields its harvest. God, our God, blesses us. May God bless us still, so that all the ends of the earth. Psalm 67 from the NIV. God's blessing reveals who he is. Scripture we shared last week, God be merciful unto us and bless us and cause his face to shine upon us. Psalm 67, we hear an echo of the blessing found in Numbers 6. The psalm begins with a request for blessing. Specifically, it asks for the fertility of the land in verse 6. The expression, he causes his face to shine upon us, means that prayers were offered to ask for God's presence and that his eyes would rest lovingly. Verses 2 through 5 describe the action that his blessing might evoke in the countries surrounding Israel. The way in which God blessed Israel revealed who he is and what it meant to be blessed by him. As a result, the inhabitants of the countries surrounding Israel could also discover who God is. Rejoicing in God's deeds and the realization God always acts righteously, fairly. God's blessing and everything that results from it is not intended to make his children proud and extravagant in their way of life. God's blessing reveals who he is and what he gives. This is what we learn from Psalm 67. It is not the people who receive praise for what has been achieved. All glory goes to God, as he provided all necessities. A couple questions for you. How does God's blessing and how do you express that joy? And let's pray. Heavenly Father, our prayer today is that you would be gracious to us, that you would bless us, that you would make your face shine upon us. Let your ways be known and your salvation among all people. May all the nations rejoice in you, and may our lives reflect your goodness and your. Father, we give you praise now and always. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Okay. All right, let's the numbers. I'll give you the numbers from around the world. Take it from there. Have a peek at the news and then go to the charts. Okay. Time. Okay, starting here in the U.S., the cash markets, or the indices as they're called, Dow is currently up 707 points, 1.5%. NASDAQ up 187. That's almost 1%. S&P 500 up 50 points. And the Russell 2000 up 38 points, which is 1.5%. Way to start the new year, right? Commodity basket, crude oil up 89 cents, trading 58.21 last. That's a gain of 1.5%. And I posted on the Breeze channel last night. There's going to be a lot of opportunities based on what's happening in Venezuela. But I also cautioned. A lot of people were saying the slam dunk would be to just, short crude and retire. But the thought being that the U.S. is going to take all of that crude, or U.S. companies. And when you have more supply, well, it goes down. But I cautioned everybody, do due diligence and wait retracement. First you get the initial move, you get the retracement, then you make your decision. So be cautious. I admit I am surprised to see crude up almost $1 in today's session. And when crude rises $1 in price, that's worth $1,000 per contract. 90 cents right now. Gold is up $119.70, trading $4,449.50 last. That's a gain of 2.75%. Silver up $5.57, trading 76.58 last. That's a gain of just shy 8%. Asian markets at the close, Nikkei posted a gain of 1,493 points, almost 3%. Shanghai rose 54, 1.5%. The Hang Seng gained 8. And then the European markets at the close, FTSE up 53, DAX up 329, which is almost 1.5%. CAC rose 16. So we had a green day in Asia. It was a green day for the UK. At the moment, is a big green Radio Monday here. Survey. Take a look at the news. I know you've already heard this, but I feel obligated to talk about it. U.S. Special Forces conducted an early morning raid in the Venezuelan capital, Caracas, on Saturday, striking military facilities and capturing President Nicolas Maduro and his wife. The pair was transported to the city to face federal drug and terrorism-related charges, with their first court appearance expected this morning. It's probably already happening. President Trump suggested the U.S. would oversee the country until open elections could be held. As of this writing, reporters say Maduro allies, led by Vice President Delcy Rodriguez, remain in charge, but have been in contact with U.S. officials. Rodriguez condemned the strike and called for Maduro. Now she says she wants to play nice. The operation began around 1:30 a.m. local time, with roughly 150 aircraft providing air cover, while extraction teams entered Maduro's compound, intervening before the Maduros could enter a safe room. The effort took about 2 hours, with no American lives lost. The precision of this military strike is just absolutely incredible. I can't wait for the movies to hit the big screen. Maduro assumed power in 2013 following the death of Hugo Chavez. He was indicted by the U.S. in 2020, which eventually offered a $50 million bounty. Joe Biden offered $50 million for anyone who could take down Maduro or provide information leading to his arrest. So Trump did it. He hasn't asked for the bounty. I mean, it would have been American dollars anyway, but what I find so fascinating about this whole thing, I'm most fascinated by the precision with which our U.S. military was able to pull this off. Number two, I'm fascinated how Democrats have completely changed their tune. They wanted Maduro's head on a stake. Offered $50 million for anybody. Amen. Along comes Trump. That's what needs to be done. This is after giving the guy multiple opportunities to leave. He says, I would recommend that you get out. Moscow, you can go to all kinds of places. But, bro, play hardball, and now he's in leg irons. What's interesting is, although this huge bounty was placed on his head, no one ever did anything about it. And his latest claim to fame was claiming victory in the 2024 election, despite evidence that he lost by a wide margin. The administration framed the operation as a federal law enforcement action that did not require congressional approval, while some critics want to argue it violated international law previously ratified by the U.S. Yeah, what about Manuel Noriega? Now, that took days and huge speakers blasting heavy metal rock music at his house until he couldn't take it anymore. He finally just gave up. This happened in a couple hours. Done and done. Just think, this might be a bipartisan moment where everybody says, wow, thing for the world. If it's got Trump's name attached to it, That derangement syndrome is always going to kill. Always. And we'll hear more and more about it. Trump knew what he was doing, how to do it. He knew what the legal boundaries were. And again, he gave the guy multiple opportunities. Out. Now, what I find so fascinating is there's these people in New York, Portland, Oregon, Seattle, other places that are out in the streets protesting this action that was taken. We go to Miami, where most of the expat Venezuelans live. They're dancing in the streets. Many of them already making their plans to go back home, to see their families, to rebuild their lives, to rebuild their businesses. See, people who know nothing about Venezuela are very quick to trash Trump over his actions. But go talk to an actual Venezuelan. They're also dancing in the streets in Venezuela, not just in South Florida. The only people unhappy about what happened is Democrats and Maduro and his wife and his son. Family crime syndicate. Sounds a little Biden-esque. All right, there's more articles on that, but let's move on. Fresh analysis of a fossil discovered in the early 2000s appears to strengthen the claim that the earliest known ancestor walked upright 7 million. Paleontologists discovered the ape-like species in Chad's Arab Desert in 2001. Research focused on the fossil skull, with the lead researcher suggesting the creature was upright based on how it carried its head. Later analysis of the fossil's forearms and thigh bone left unresolved the question of whether the species walked on two legs and could therefore be classified as a ancestor. Now a detailed 3D analysis of the femur and thigh bone confirmed two elements pointing to bipedalism and revealed a third, the presence of a tubercle, which has so far been identified in. Now, we all know that when President Trump took office, he had all these things he said he was going to do. So did Mondami. What was his platform? Let's see. This is public transportation. Well, guess what? New York City subway and bus fares rose to $3 yesterday. I said rose. Now, they're supposed to be, but they rose to $3, up 10 cents for most rides. The planned hike, along with increases in other Metropolitan Transportation Authority services, is expected to raise $350 annually. It goes into effect days after Mayor Zoran Mondami took office, after running in part on a pledge to make New York City buses free. New York City's transit system is run by the MTA, a state agency with roughly $21 billion annual operating. To make buses free, Mondami will need the support of MTA leadership, which approved the latest hike in September. Mondami proposed making up lost money to the state. Bus fare is expected to raise over $1 billion annually by 2028, in part by raising the corporate tax rate to 11.5%. same rate as New Jersey, which is the highest in the country. New York City subway system carries over 4 million passengers daily. Buses carry over 1 million people daily. An estimated 1 in 5 New Yorkers struggles to pay for public transit, according to findings from an anti-poverty group. So if you were going to pick a lie to campaign on, that's a pretty good one. Transit. 1 in 5 New Yorkers struggles to pay for public transit. And he's in office 3 days, and the price goes up. Yeah, I know, it's all just a big misunderstanding. Anyway, China's ticked off. China, one of the world's big buyers of Venezuelan oil, reacted to President Trump's ouster of the Latin American leader over the weekend. A series of condemnations, but no signals of retaliation so far. The world continues to assess the shocking. China is deeply shocked, a foreign ministry spokesperson offered in a statement. We call on the U.S. to abide by international law and stop violating other countries' sovereignty and security, the statement added. Meanwhile, Trump repeatedly brushed off the chances of his move rupturing relations between the world's 2 largest economies. Back and forth is being closely watched because of China's close relationships with the regime, dating to a deal between the 2 nations forged in 2007. Then President Hugo Chavez. That pact led China to become the main consumer of Venezuelan energy, reportedly a major creditor to Chavez and then Maduro regimes in return. So here's the deal. We didn't really get Venezuela's oil. That was given away a long time ago. We got China's oil. And economically, China's struggling a little bit. Interesting to see how that plays out. Home front, Chevron oil and other oil stocks are up substantially. CVX is up over 5%, XOM up over 2%, COP up over 3%. I already told you crude oil up 1.5%, and HAL up over 10%. U.S. oil stocks jumping today after President Trump pledged to revive the Venezuelan energy sector following the capture of Nicolas Maduro. Chevron Corp, the only major American oil company currently operating in the South American nation under special U.S. permission, surged as much as 6.3%, the most since April. ConocoPhillips and ExxonMobil also rose. 3 largest oil service companies, Halliburton, SLB, and Baker Hughes, all jumped more than 5%. Trump said U.S. oil companies will spend billions of dollars to rebuild Venezuela's crumbling energy infrastructure and restore the nation's oil sector to its former. That's the kind of stuff. Biden puts a bounty on a guy's head and just, it's a shame. Bloomberg, the U.S. is awarding $900 million to Centrus Energy Corp and two other as part of an effort to restart domestic production and wean the U.S. off enriched Russian uranium. Funding for Maryland-based Centrus will go towards the development of next-generation reactor fuel to the energy, which is announcing the awards later today. Funding will also go to Peter Thiel's backed advanced nuclear enrichment startup General Matter and to a subsidiary of Orano SA, which is planning an enrichment facility in Tennessee. Centrus shares rose as much as 9% in copper hits a record. Copper resumed its scorching rally to surpass $13,000 a ton for the first time as a renewed rush to ship metal to the U.S. fired up bullish traders and investors. Benchmark prices on the London Metal Exchange surged as much as 4.5%, the latest in a series of leaps higher that have lifted copper more than 1% since mid. And the Trump administration is taking administrative action against Senator Mark Kelly, Democrat from Arizona. According to Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, the move comes after Kelly, a retired U.S. Navy captain, took part in the making of a video urging members of the military and the intelligence community to disobey unlawful orders. 6 weeks ago, Senator Mark Kelly and 5 other members of Congress released a reckless and seditious video that was clearly intended to undermine good order and military discipline. Hegseth wrote on X this morning, as a retired Navy captain still receiving a military pension, Captain Kelly knows he is still accountable for justice. The Department of War and the American people expect justice. Therefore, in response to Senator Kelly's seditious statements and his pattern of reckless misconduct, the Department of War is taking administrative action against Captain Kelly. The Department of War has initiated retirement grade determination proceedings, which has said will result in a corresponding reduction in retired pay. Kelly has received a letter of censure which outlines the totality of Captain Kelly's reckless misconduct. Censure is a necessary step and will be placed in Captain Kelly's official military personnel file. Kelly retired from the Navy in 2011, having served since the 1980s. He served as a naval aviator during. Kelly drew the Pentagon's attention when he contributed to a video statement alongside other Democrat lawmakers in which they urged members of the military and the intelligence community to disobey unlawful orders. Each one of them, when asked what unlawful orders have been given, crickets. Waltz has finally given up. Tim Waltz announced today he will drop his bid for a third term as governor after his state has been rocked by a fraud scandal. And of course, went on to say that it was all Trump's fault. So we've talked a lot about Maduro and what happened. But taking Maduro off the table alone hasn't yet ended the narco dictatorship and the threat it poses to the U.S. Indeed, Venezuela's Delcy Rodriguez, who claimed the position of vice president under the criminal Maduro regime has been sworn in by a puppet Supreme Court as interim. Arresting Maduro has upended a status quo in Venezuela that favored continuity for the regime and insecurity for the United States. Several questions and unknowns remain as to what. Many are concerned that the U.S. is about to embark on an Iraq-style nation-building exercise in which U.S. soldiers and taxpayer money are deployed in a long and dangerous effort. That does not appear to be its intention nor to be necessary to restore stability and security in Venezuela. There are known U.S. troops within Venezuela. Instead, the Trump administration seems poised to continue its previous efforts to leverage economic, tactical, and diplomatic pressure against the remnants, the narco regime, to facilitate a restoration of stability and democracy and end the threat to the United States. And to end all of this Maduro talk for today, Venezuelans worldwide took to the streets over the weekend to celebrate the capture of ousted President Nicolas Maduro. Venezuelan native Jorge Gotti, president of Economic Inclusion Group, said Maduro's arrest is a sign of hope. 4 years of hyperinflation, this is what Venezuelans have been living with the past 2 decades. He was on Morning in America today. So when they see Maduro, the man responsible for the crisis, is now in a New York jail, for many there are signs of hope and optimism. And as I said, there's going to be just incredibly tremendous investment opportunities. I'm sure the big street are scrambling now. ETF. Armchair investors. Opportunity. Big part. Okay. Currently in week 88 of Logic 247. Logic 247 is our 24/7 around the clock E-mini alert service. It's not just E-minis, but also crude silver. Last week we ended up 28 alerts issued, 9 never triggered. We only worked 2 days last week. So we had 19 actionable alerts, of which 3 were stopped out, 16%. Now in week 388, over the last 388 weeks, issued 21,200 individual handcrafted alerts. Averaged on a weekly basis is 20% or less of the alerts stopped out based on simple market structure, a simple process we teach all of our passport holders. Since the markets opened last night at 6 p.m. Eastern, we issued 13 alerts. Valerie did the recap this morning at 6:30 a.m. Eastern. So we were still waiting on the outcome of 8 at that time. She'll update it, of course, this afternoon. We had 5 actionable alerts. 1 got stopped out, right at 20%. That's been the average for a little 7 years. The purpose of the logic alerts is to teach our traders how to read a chart. Trade for a living, you got to be able to read the chart. I know you can all read, but big difference between reading a book, newspaper, or a chart. A chart doesn't have any words, sentences, paragraphs, or information. Understand what that chart's trying to tell you. It's trying to tell you where to expect potential resistance, expect potential support and show you where you have clear areas of opportunity. Take advantage. Now, what we've done over 7 years is that despite our best efforts, 20% of the time, the market's going to do something other than what we anticipate. 20% or less. Okay. Hitting those numbers already? Fine. Not a thing. But if you're not, maybe it's because you don't know how to chart. So it's time to learn. Logic alerts all have an entry price, long or short, an initial target, in this case it's additional targets, and then a final trade to target. Properly enable you. Now, long before Logic 247, our original alert service, the concierge trade, they're different in a lot of different ways. For the purpose of this discussion, I'll simply say they don't come out. A whole lot of other differences too, but to this discussion. Now they typically come out 5 minutes ahead of the Globex Open. And then last Monday, I was running late and got them out 5 minutes after the Open. And last night, I posted in the discussion group that I was going to hold off intentionally because I anticipated there would be gaps at the Open. Some markets there were. So we did publish 20 minutes after the Open. That means is all of our traders had all of these targets 20 minutes after the market last night. S&P 500, the Dow, the Russell, oil, the NQ, and silver. So as we go through the individual markets and you see these targets drawn out on the chart, remember, 20 minutes after the second. All right. Let's go to the daily chart of the S&P 500 futures, the bellwether. Okay. Now, got a doji ID. Getting a doji daily candle. It's kind of a deal. See, this doji led to this. This doji may lead us higher. Got a lot of obstacles to overcome. Price always reverts to the mean. In our case, the mean is green. Called the BBC, it stands for bullish. Price crosses above the green line, we're bullish and expect higher prices. Price crosses below the green line, we're bearish and expect prices. It's pretty simple. see when price pulls back, the pullback holds more. At a 6-day pullback right here, that held. And we're historic intraday and closing. There had a head fake big picture signal. The following Friday, we had another one, and this one actually was real. Lag and a retracement, the pullback held. Lag and a retracement, the pullback held. Then we traded through the C. So while the pullback holds, more often than it doesn't, 6 days. Held. Eventually, it's going to trade through. Okay. Happened right here. That took us up to this area. About to challenge the all-time historic, and we didn't. Now we got a double top sitting over here. Now on this move down, it highlighted this area where the bullish cross is. When you have a bullish cross, that's when the blue line gets above the green line. It leads to an extended move. First time price revisits that area will almost always support. That area held for quite a while. We got a retracement to the BC, traded through it. And right here, where we had a wick sticking up and a wick sticking down, I drew in this horizontal line. Back, I think it was on this day. I said this is an area we should definitely expect support. That's why it's important to learn how to read the chart. Anticipate resistance, where to anticipate support, and understand that 20% of the time something else is going to happen. So you don't go buy another indicator, don't go back to the drawing board for the next opportunity. Have in front of you a strategy that has worked since 2008. And if you're chasing that holy grail of never getting stopped out again, you should save some time and some treasure, because it doesn't exist. It can't exist. This pullback Friday, you can see we spanned from 24% fib extension on the downside. Then we actually ticked 8% fib extension and into the step line, sent us back down to close, basically right where we opened. Daily doji. And so just today, resistance overhead at this point will be the high of the day, because we're now off the high of the day. Then you've got the 50% fib extension. And then you've got this high right here, 69.94. And then you're looking at the all-time historic intraday. Here's your all-time historic closing high. It's out by a. So if we take out the all-time historic intraday high this week, here's the 62% fib extension and then the 1% fib extension. Of the BBC, we have blue and climbing. So already had our black step line cross blue and climbing, which gave us our retracement. That's what we expect and anticipate when that happens, just like here and just like it happened over here. That's the way that works. So bulls are out in force today. How we close is really going to tell us will they hold these positions? Will they take them home overnight? Do you think they have the strength to overcome this 50% fib extension become this high, December 26th of last year? Or will they take their profits as we go into the close, end up? Now, climbing can act as potential support. The step line can act as potential support, and the 30% fib extension can act as potential support. Then we got the low of the day. Then we got the low of Friday, which is perfectly aligned with % extension. I'm going to suggest sideways here for a few days. We'll see what happens. For such an incredibly bullish day, we need to see where we go. Now, all the alerts are created on a 30-minute chart. Logic 247 alerts and the concierge trade alerts. The vertical line separates today Monday, back over here is Friday. These are last week's zones. New weekly trading zones come out every Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. So all of our traders already have this week's weekly trading zones, which we've published every Monday for the last 16 years. Price rallies up to a weekly zone, resistance still proven otherwise. Price drops to a zone we support until one of three things happens when price encounters a zone. 70% of the times consolidation, 20% of the times rejection, 10% of the times the slice. You have a 30-minute candle that slices through a zone like it's not even there. Runs out of steam, price will typically trace back to the zone it sliced through, like it did right here. Continue in the direction of the sliced. That's a textbook example of the slice. And the rejection, consolidation, and here's consolidation. Here's the consolidation. On tomorrow's broadcast, you'll see this week's zones. But any alert that goes out on Sunday night has to be based on last week's zones, because zones don't publish until morning at 6:15 Eastern. This was the opening candle last night. This is where we closed on Friday, right? This was the opening candle last night. We gapped up and then we dropped quick. Remember, the pullback to the BBC holds more often than it doesn't. Fell there on Friday, fell there last night, again, and again. Then we hit the long target, which was published 20 minutes after the open at 69. All right, Michael's here. He's going to give us a recap of what happened in the live training room this morning. He's done. I'll come back. I'll finish the recap I was on. Wrap things up.
Excellent. All right. Should be looking at my screen.
Yep, looks good.
All right. Here we go. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy 2026. If you have not taken a free trial with us and you'd like to take a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button. Once you do that, you can be sent to this page, this page, where all that we ask for is your name, your email, and your phone number. Down at the bottom, make sure you have the TradingView login ID. If you don't have one of those, click this link right here and go get one. Okay. All you need is the essential. All right. You don't need to get anything above the essential. Get the essential with the real-time data, and that is all you need to get. All right. Today we had an okay day today. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. For our very first trading day of the year, we did have quite a few stop outs, so we had 8 stop outs this morning. If you're going to read the spreadsheet, you have to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today is the 5th day of January 2026, our first trading day of January 2026. We're up 24 ticks on the NQ, 2 on the YM, 48 on gold, and 1 on ES. Put us at 622.5 on the morning session. Today it took 7 minutes and 3 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $155 with 1 contract, or $1,550 with 10. Took 41 trades this morning with 8 stop outs, putting us at 80.49% break even or better. I think we had 3 break even trades this morning. So on the month now, obviously it's the first day of the month and the year. So we're up 622.50 on the month, averaging 622.50 per day, and on the year we're at 622.50, so we're averaging 622.50 per day. The 24/20 blueprint, we're averaging $1,328 per hour. If you were to extrapolate that over a whole hour, the 0.11 hours that we've worked so far, we're up $155. So it's going to take us a little while to get a full hour in there, probably. I'm knocking on wood, hopefully. It's going to take us a little while to get to the full hour in there. Then we'll see where we're at once we get the full hour done. But so far, we're at $155 per contract. All right. So the afternoon sessions, I'm just going to continue on with the afternoon sessions. I'm not going to, I guess I could maybe make a little bit of something in here, just let you know where the new year started. Make a blue one in there, let you know where the new year started, and then we just carry the rest of the stuff down from there. That's for the trades that we're going to do in here. Now, let's go back here and we'll look at the trades that we did today. We'll start out with the gold, and on this one we'll do control back, and we'll get all the way back to the beginning and see the trades we did. Now, gold was the one where we made the majority of the money today. And that's the one stop out we had, was right there on gold. Okay, this is our first trade on gold. We picked up our very first trade on gold. Let's see, 1 tick. The next trade on gold was right here. That's where we got the goal for the day. We picked up 12 ticks on that one. That put us at plus 13 overall. Then we stopped out, went down to -2. Then we went from 2 up to 8, and then 8 up to 18, and then 18 to 28, 28 to 29. Then, okay, and a long pace in there. Long spot space. We didn't take any trades. We went from 29 to 31, 31 to 32, 32 to 33, and 33 to 48. And that was it for our trading in the morning session. Looks like there was some pretty good activity here during the break. I was thinking it was gonna start to move around quite a bit during the break. And it looks like it did after it got through this initial 15-minute period here. Looks like it had some pretty good activity during the break. I won't go through all of those right now, so we'll have some chance to trade after I'm done going through everything. On the YM this morning, we had a couple of stop outs on the YM. Let's do control and back and go back to the beginning of the YM here. Okay, here we are. Huge move right at the open here on the YM. We didn't get anything out of that. Our very first YM trade was right here, and we picked up 10 ticks on that. Nothing for a while. We picked up 20 ticks on that to get us to 30. Then we stopped out, put us down to 15. Then we went 2 ticks to get us to 17, and stopped out again, down to 2. And that is where we ended it with the YM this morning. Now, during the break, it looks like there were a few decent trades. Few decent trades in there during the break. I'm not going to go through everyone individually. Just say it looks like there were some pretty good ones in there. Now, the ES, you don't have to press control and go back on the ES to see the whole day because there wasn't much. This is the whole day on the ES. We started out with a break even. Then we had a +8, got us to 8. Then we had another 8 to get us to 16. Then a break even. Then we stopped out, put us down to 6. Then we stopped out again, put us at -4. Then we picked up 5 ticks to get us to +1. And that was it for the ES. During the break, it looks like there was a long trade right there. Yes, that was a valid long trade right there. Right there was a valid long trade. Both of those are profitable. That could have been profitable. Looks like this was a valid long trade right here that would eventually stopped out. And a short trade is setting up right now on the ES. Okay, so if you get a down close on the current bar on the ES, that would be a shorting opportunity. And so we'll just get ready for that. Okay, down close on the current bar. We'll pull this out of the overbought, and it would be a down close off the midpoint. That would be a shorting opportunity on the ES. All right, and that's what the ES did for us today. We ended up with +2 this morning, and there it is on the ES. And it gapped down. All right, so I'm going to lock in 4 ticks on that, 8 ticks on that, and we'll take 8 ticks on that first trade in this session of 2026. So today is 1/5/2026, and this is the ES, I believe. This one right here is the ES. 8 ticks on the ES. This we need to copy down to here. This we need to copy down to here. This is a 1. This is a 0. And, well, if we hit started right now, we'll say 23 minutes. But, well, I'll put in 23 since we took the first trade right now. 23 minutes. All right, and that's our first trade of this session. Now, the NQ. Let's take a look on the NQ today. We had a bunch of trades on the NQ. I think, yeah, we had more trades than anything else on the NQ. Oops, I don't have my question box open. Let me go get that open and see if anybody's asked me a question yet. I doubt it, but no questions. Let's see who was in here today. Okay. Blake, I feel like you asked me a question that I didn't answer over the weekend or over the holiday. Did I answer all your questions? I know we went back and forth a bit, but I don't remember if those balls in my court right now. Okay. All right. On the NQ this morning, our first trade was 5 ticks. Right. So the combination to get the goal for the day was 5 ticks on this and 13 ticks total on the gold is who got the goal. That's how we ended up with 135, 100. What should have been 130 plus 25, 155 per contract. Okay, so that was our first trade there on the NQ. Picked up 5 ticks there. Then our next trade, we picked up, actually that was a pretty big trade. I didn't realize we had a big trade like that in the beginning. 36 ticks right there to get us to 41. Then we picked up 4, 45. Then 1 to 46 and 4 to 50. Then somehow, I don't know how, but somehow I managed to stop out on this. All right, I have it as orange because I shorted in here. It seemed like I shorted at a pretty good spot, and somehow I managed to go up and stop me out, minus 25 ticks, and then move down. I don't know how I did that, but I stopped out there. We went from 50 down to 25, and then we had a plus. No, we stopped out again. We went from 25 down to 0. Do I have that stop out in here? I don't. Okay, well, we stopped out again. We went from 25 to 0. I don't know where that other stop out is, but it's in here somewhere. And from 25 down to 0. And then we had a +4. And then we had a +4 again up to 8. Then another +4 somewhere to 12. There it is, +4 to 12. Then we stopped out to -13. Then we had a +4 to 9. Then a plus something to 5. So I guess +16 to get us to 5. And then I hit this one twice. And on one time it gave me a +4, and one time it gave me a +3. So it went from 5 to 9, and then 9 to 12. Okay, that's what I was trying to see. Then from 12 to 16, and then 16 to 20, and then finally 20 to 24. And that is what we did on the NQ today. Now I'm just checking really quick to see if there are any really obvious trades in here. That one right there. No, that did not come out of the overbought. That one. And that's it. So not a lot of trades today on the NQ during the break anyway. The S is about to trigger again right here. This was the last one that we took, and it's about to trigger another one right now. It just needs a down close of the current bar. The gold doesn't have anything, and the NQ did not trigger one back here. Okay, so it's almost got one here, but not quite. And the S just needs a down close. Just need that down close there on the S. And we will see what we have here. Okay, here's the down close coming up here on the S. We're almost in the oversold on the, there's the down close on the S. So we can jump on that right now. And we're almost in the oversold, so I almost went full cycle here on this. Yes. We almost went full cycle on the NQ, but we didn't go yet. We needed down close here on the NQ. This will go automatically to break even after 4 ticks in profit. So once it hits the yellow has 175, the stop will go to break even. Okay, there's the down close. So now we need an up close followed by a down close on the NQ to have a short trade. So we need an up close on this bar and a down close on the next one on the NQ. Okay, an up close on this bar and down close on the next one will be a trade there on the NQ for us. All right. The ES is trying to push down again. It should get down to 49.50. It's going to go down one more tick and it'll bump that stop. And 49.50 isn't the spot that's got the big number at it, but we're almost there on the NQ. We need an up close followed by a down close on the NQ. Both of these are setting up for long trades right now. They're not there yet. They both need a down close followed by an up close. All right. This did not give us the overbought that we were looking for on that. So this is not going to give us a trade on the NQ now. It's kind of messed up that it didn't do that. That up close right there should put that into the overbought, but it didn't. So this is not a trade here on the NQ. Looks like it might go down without giving us an opportunity. And I think the S is going to push down right here. The NQ is pushing down. Everything's trying to move down, but these two are going to set up for long trades. The gold now needs an up close from where it currently is. Oops, we'll find that. Gold now needs an up close from where it currently is. Let me put this window on top so that doesn't happen again. So we're just looking for an up close now on gold. It's got a low right here of 56.9. So you'd be looking at 57.9, the up close of 57.9 on gold. This didn't end up being a trade here on the NQ, and it didn't end up being a trade here on the YM either. Okay, the ES is our only trade going on right now. Well, that and potential gold. So I do like that the ES and gold are going in opposite directions. We just need to get the fill over here on the gold, and there's the up close. Okay, there's the up close. Just jump on the gold right here. Here's the gold long and the ES short. No trade on the YM and no trade on the NQ right now. Okay. So just let things run. They're going to go to break even. We'll break even plus a tick automatically when it gets to the right place. There. Okay, so the ES went to break even. Now they go to +4 on the ES. Okay, the gold did not go to the point where it would have bumped the stop yet. It will bump it to +1 tick. Got 4 out of the ES. The gold will bump it to +1 tick once it gets 5 ticks into profit. Okay, there it is. It just did that. Now we'll lock in 5 on the gold. All right, so we're all with positive trades on both of those. The YM could turn into a trade now. Okay, the YM right now has a low of 408, so you'd be buying 418 on that. Right, 418 on the YM. Let's go out here. And Gold is this one. We got 5 ticks on that. And the ES, we got another 4. So we are now 3 trades. Okay, we're up to $2,000 right now. Or 200 with one contract. Look for the YM to give the up close right here. If that gives an up close, that'll be a trade too. The low right now is the low is down there. Okay, so yeah. So the up close right here is an entry on the YM. Okay, here it is. Do I have a pretty good fill on that? I do have exactly the right fill on that. Okay, the other indices are tanking right now, so the YM could tank with it and just be a minus 15 ticks. It's possible. It hasn't gone any into profit yet. Entry wise, it's gone 1 tick, 2 ticks. It looks like it's gone 4 ticks into profit. But I didn't realize it. All right. So this looks like it's going to stop us out. Be minus 15 ticks on the YM if that does happen. The gold needs a down close followed by an up close, and there it goes on the YM. Gold needs a down close followed by an up close, and let's put this in YM minus 15. This becomes a 4. This becomes a 1. Oops. 1. There. All right. So in this session, with the trading that I do manage to get in here, now we've got a little extra time. 23 minutes is more than we've had in this session that I kept track of anyway. But we've had a lot of trades in some of these with not a lot of time. So I mean, right now we have 12 minutes left, and we could have 6 more trades in 12 minutes pretty easily. We're up $1,250 right now after the stop out that we just had. So far, we're 125 if you're just doing one contract. Now we were up twice the goal for the day at one point in this session. So if you don't make it to the morning sessions and you can make it to this session, then you should really try to do that every day, because we do this session every day. Okay, and we have 11 minutes left. Let's see if we can get any more trades off in here. Again, if you have not taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com. mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button. There's no credit card required for the trial. Just click on that purple button. It's going to bring you to the registration page. Just fill out the registration page. Right? Once you do that, you'll be sent everything that you need to get into the room with us every morning. Okay. Now we have not hit the midpoint here. The ES and the NQ and the YM, everything's in the red right now, and everything's looking to give us a shorting opportunity. We're pretty close here on the ES right now. We just need a down close on that one. Okay, the NQ has to hit the midpoint, the YM has to hit the midpoint, and the gold has to hit the midpoint. But the ES has just done it, so we just need a down close here on the ES. Now we came out of the overbought, and that shifted the midpoint on the NQ, so that's not going to be a trade. All right, there's a down close on the ES. We came out of the overbought on the YM, that shifted the midpoint, so that's not going to be a trade. We never got to the midpoint on the gold. So the ES is the only thing I got going, and I actually got a good entry on that. So I'm going to lock in 2 ticks on the ES right now. Okay, and that should go down to 945, this number right here. It's also the swing low. It's got a big number at it right there. That's where it should go down to right now. From 48, we should get down to 45. We should have 12 ticks in this. I'm out with 2, but it should have 12 altogether. Let's put that in. Okay. Now, we did not go full cycle here or here. So we can't take bounces off the midband right now in either of those. The gold, we could take a bounce off the midband on that because it has gone full cycle down. It just needs to get all the way back up now. Okay. All right. Joe B is not in the audience. All right. This is not a trade on the NQ because we didn't go full cycle. The ES needs to finish the move down. YM needs to finish the move down. So now we've gone full cycle on the NQ. We need to come back up, hit the midpoint, bounce off it. The gold still needs to pull back up into the overbought. And we have about 7 minutes left. So hopefully we'll get a couple more trades off in here. Does anybody have any questions about anything at this point? Questions? Okay. The NQ could turn into a trade here if it doesn't go up any higher. See, it can't be 5 points. The top of the bar can't be 5 points away from this. So I think it is now. It's too far. It's gone too far. Okay, the YM can't be a trade here. The gold still could be if it doesn't close down right now. If gold closes down, it's going to mess this all up. But if it closes up and hits the midpoint, then we could have a short on gold. Okay, but gold is the only one. We're going to flip the YBR here on the NQ. Gold is the only one looking on the short side right now. This needs to finish a cycle. This needs to finish a cycle. This is going to flip the YBR. You all follow me with all that? Flip the YBR. So we're going to be looking for long trades on the NQ now. It's the only one in the green right now. All right, the gold came out of the overbought. So no trade over there. So now the closest thing to a trade is the NQ, suddenly. So now we just have to wait a couple of minutes here, it looks like. We only have about 4 left, but we're in wait mode. We could have something here on gold. We flip to YBR. So the gold, if it hits the midpoint, gives us an up close, could be a trade. Okay, these guys are a long way away from giving us a trade. Okay, so the gold could give us a trade with just a simple up close right now. It's got a low of 55, so we'd be buying 56 on that. Right, 55 up to 56. If it keeps going down, then just need the up close on it. There it is. 54.6 up to 55.6. I think we just need the up close on it right now. It's going to be 55. Now it's even lower. 54.1. It can't get below 2. Yeah, I think it's too low now. Yep, it's too low. Cancel. Nothing on gold. Nothing on the NQ yet. And these guys are a long way away from a trade. Again, if you haven't taken the free trial, go here to mytradingxu.com. Click on the purple button. No credit card is required. Just click on that purple button. It's going to bring it to the registration page. Just fill it out. Right. Fill out that page. It will know you took the trial, and we'll get your indicators indicating on your desktop for you. When gold flipped to IBR back again without giving us a single trade. The NQ is getting closer right now. It's closer. All right, a little closer on the NQ now. We have a couple minutes left, so the NQ could be our last trade here. Could be. It's not there yet. Doesn't look like we're going to get anything there. We just came out of the oversold. So now it's going to reset the whole thing. Now the closest thing we have to a trade is probably the gold. Okay, but I don't think we're going to end up with that. We only have a minute left. It's not looking like we're going to turn up with another trade here. Flip the YBR. YM. Okay, so the gold and the NQ have the potential to give a trade here. They're the closest ones right now. The gold just got a little further away. So did the NQ. But the NQ just needs a down close. Okay, well, 2 down closes and an up close. There's one down close. Needs another down close and then an up close. And you have a trade there on the NQ. I don't think it's going to happen, guys. All right. Well, let me just show you one more time how to take the free trial. You go here to mytradingIQ.com and click on the purple button right here. There's no credit card required for the trial. Just click on that purple button. And when you do, it's going to bring you to the registration page. And on this page, just fill it out. Make sure you give us a TradingView login ID down here at the bottom. Give us that TradingView login ID. We will know you took the trial. And we will, at that point, we'll know you took the trial. And we'll get the indicators indicating on your desktop for you. We'll send you all the information you need to get into the room with us each and every morning for your trial. Right? The gold is pretty close, but it's going to be too high, I think. A high of 0.4. Yeah, it's going to be too high. So you're not going to have a trade anywhere right here. All right, and I guess that's it. with that, we can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Okay. And there it is. Dwayne has got it.
Recap of the morning session.
Okay, well, in this session, I forgot to recap this session. In this session, we ended up with plus $1,500 with 10 contracts, or $150 with one contract. Took 5 trades with one stop out. We're up $150 per contract. And in the morning session, it took 7 minutes and 3 trades to get to $1,550. That was our day today.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bank of America just issued a statement recommending a 4% Bitcoin and crypto allocation to their wealth management. It's just published. So
Good stuff.
imagine if every Bank of America buys and allocate percent. That would be something.
It will be. Maybe I know all their wealth managers and be contacting all their wealth clients and suggesting. Submitting.
All right, guys. Yep. Left off on ES, and we're still consolidating in to last week's weekly zones because the alerts that go out tonight are based on the previous week's zones. New zones don't come out until morning, 6:15 a.m. Eastern. That's how it's been now for 16 years. Now you see where we kept running into resistance at the long. It's because of the bullish cross on Friday. Our bearish cross. Bearish cross is when the red line gets below the green line. It's to an extended move. First time price revisits that area is to always be resistance. And it was. We finally poked through it. Had a retracement to the VC and the pullback. That sent us up to the next zone, resistance, 69.2/50. Consolidated sideways. Step line has crossed, climbing. Now you should look for a retracement back to the BBC. Back holes, not no. However, right here, see this wick sticking up, this wick sticking down. Here, right between the two. I suspect price could see right there. Give us another leg to the upside, unless what I mentioned earlier has, and that is that this bullish Monday, off the high of the session, would end up finding resistance at the 50% fib extension, but traders are not as confident as they are institutional traders. You could see just a huge, so it's not impossible that we see a sell-off. Yes, just an observation. For a retracement right now. So whether that happens or not will have a lot to do with this pullback holds through this area of support. Top side of the long target is potential support, and then the zone cross right here as potential support. Slow, short target. The Dow, that's where we opened last night. Consolidated sideways right above the BC. Back, get held here. As long as it's touching, it's a hold. Put held, we hit the long target. Timed all these zones from last week. etc. Now, black step line has already crossed blue and got blue and climbing directly above price. When blue and climbing gets direct price, that becomes potential resistance. See how on the way up the two are running parallel? These are running parallel. Should stay with the side in this case. This happens. Okay. Now, is it possible that it could break through? Yeah, it's possible. Historically, is that what it's done? No. May go up and bump its head on it. Should be looking for adjustment to the C. And then the question is back going to hold or not? Just wait. That's where so many traders struggle. Having the patience, wait for the to actually set up. Well, it looks like it's going to do, so I'm going to go. Okay, the Russell opened last night, hit the zone resistance. That's what I expect. Step line crossed blue and climbing, adjustment to the BBC, and the pullback. Red and falling turn to blue and climbing. How these two ran. Finally got across. Okay. Now the Russell is still trying to push itself up. Is it possible? Yes. Is it probable? No. But you got to embrace all possibilities. So there you got a nice little double top. 66 roughly. From the big picture, there will be no alert short the Russell until it's back below the BBC. Prices above the BBC, opportunities. Prices below the BBC, short opportunity. On the NQ. Open last night. Consolidated at the BBC hours. Got a tiny leg and a retracement. Leg and a retracement to held, and that took us right to tick. Just off this high right here. Hit it. Resistance will host in the market support, which it found at the BBC. Back to the zone, and then we power through the zone and last week's zone. Right here. Just shy. 708, the zone's at 713/14. Didn't quite touch it. Notice the step line has crossed, and we already got our pullback to the BBC. So far, the pullback's held, but we got red and falling overhead. Continue to consolidate sideways at this weekly zone. Chances are price will trade. See. Support here. Chart. Sideways consolidation from here. Price. That's when you have your best opportunity for price to not hold. Actually. It was the open last night. Okay. Open here. All the way down. Just here. Get on the side of the BBC. Right here is the bearish cross from Friday. That right back down to the short target. Short target was 56.30. And the low of this candle was 56.31. Missed it by a tick. Again, CTAs are typically published. I showed them to you earlier. Missed any part of today's broadcast, you can watch it in its entirety when I'm done by simply going to youtube.com/CFR. We archive each and every daily broadcast, currently 1,900 daily episodes. YouTube.com/CFR. Christian Financial Radio Network since 2005. All right, so we hit the short target. One tick, okay. Power through the BBC. We consolidated the zone, leg, retracement, leg. That's just how price moved. Target, zone, resistance, sends us back to support at the BBC. Support sends us to resistance. Look left, you'll see where that resistance came from. Now, see how blue and climbing is directly above price and how it's acting as resistance, 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 resistance. Step line's already crossed. Tracement back to the BBC. Oh, this was the open last night. We had a gap higher open, and by 8 o'clock Eastern, opened at 40.68. Call it 43.70. 70. 16. $4,600 treated. Consolidated. Back. Leg. Now we just had a black step line, blue and climb. See. And last but not least, silver. Gap higher open last night. We hit the long target, 7 o'clock. By 8 o'clock, we found resistance at last week's zone. And the new zones came out this morning at 6:15 Eastern. Resistance will always send the market support. Price trades through CTA long term. On the pullback, top side of that long term support, as it did, ran up to the zone at 77.88/89. Now this is today, Monday. This is Friday. Last Wednesday, December 30th. Step line cross. Back, we got support times 2 here. Remember, pull back to the BBC holds, and when price drops to a weekly, expect support until proven. Rallies up to a zone, we expect resistance until proven. Okay. Now, keep in mind, these are zones that were published not this morning, last Monday morning at 6:15 Eastern. Still all members have this week's zones. Should get morning, make sure you get them on the chart first thing. Street wakes up for the week. And because the new zones don't come out to Monday 6:15 Eastern, that's why all the alerts from Sunday night are based on the previous week's zones. So on tomorrow's broadcast, you'll see this week's zones. Have them. Support times 2 here. And perhaps we get a leg. This high here, 78.6. Stuff. Last look at the daily. Just off the high session. Now, if this thing starts to fade going into the close, it could, or some late buying come in. Just watch your chart. Become a member. Email Valerie, support@CFR. Send you all the need to get signed up. Once you are an official passport holder, 2 hours of live training. It's an interactive environment. Top of 2 hours of live training every trading. Also have access to private ask. Strategy, you learn the indicators you use as a passport holder. All stocks, futures, crypto, ETFs matter. Price flows the same across all markets and all. Support, resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and again. Cycle. It's just how markets. From futures to stocks, change the indicator, add something, strategy change. No, it's exactly the same. Stocks, futures, crypto, ETFs. As a passport holder, every Monday morning, trading zones at 6:15 Eastern. You get the concierge trade alerts 5 minutes ahead of the Globex open each evening. You get the Logic 247 alerts around the clock. You're able to attend the members workshop every, and you get that open all private channels in everything a trader does, all into one. Wrap it up with today. Trade exchange. 1 Peter 3:18. Christ also suffered once for sins, just for the unjust, that he might bring us to God. A saleswoman passed a particular day on her way. For more than a week, she observed a little trying to sell a flop-eared. The saleswoman finally said to the little, "Sell this dog. I suggest you clean him up, brush his coat, and make something of it." At noon, the saleswoman noticed the little girl had taken her advice. The puppy was groomed, sitting under a big sign that read, "Tremendous puppy for sale, $5,000. The saleswoman smiled and gulped, determined to tell the little girl later that she may have overpriced. To her surprise, on the way home, she saw the puppy was gone. Flabbergasted, the woman sought out the little girl to ask if she had really sold the dog $5,000. The little girl said, "Sure did, and I want to thank you for all saleswoman spluttered. How in the world did you do it? She said, it was easy. I just took two $2,500 cats in exchange. Seriously, 2,000 years ago, greatest exchange of all time. On a cross outside Jerusalem, Jesus Christ gave his life in exchange just for the unjust, that he might bring us to God. On the cross, God took all of your sin and placed it upon your trust in Christ. God takes all of his righteousness, wraps you up in it. That's exchange. Thanks so much for tuning in. Wherever you are, God continue richly bless you, mercy, and with his grace. See you.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.